This is Dave from Just Drive It. We're here at RealGone Kustoms with Ricky Kinser. Ricky, how long have we been buddies?
I don't even remember.
Long time.
It's been a long time.
Since we was kids?
Yeah.
Well, teenage kids
Yeah.
or 20-something kids.
We met on the street in a couple old cars.
Yeah.
You know.
And we're still on the street, no cars.
Yeah, if we're lucky we get
Ricky's
to the street.
hardcore, he has no modern vehicles. What's the newest one you own then, Dave?
Well, the newest one my wife and I got is a 64 Olds F85.
You're more hardcore than me, Ricky.
Yeah.
I got 64 and 5 and 79.
Yeah.
So Ricky's hardcore car guy. And this is his fantastic Mercury. We'll let him tell you all the details about it, Ricky.
Well,
tell us first of all, where and how did you get this Mercury?
I found this car. It was up around Fairfax, up on the other side of the lake. Guy that works up at IU had it. He drove it when he was a kid, and the floors had rotted out. The frame was broke and twisted. And
Ricky, I'll be honest, when you got this thing, it looked like you probably had to be really careful with it. It was like pulled in two.
Yeah.
When you pulled it out.
Yeah, the rockers was gone on it, and I mean that's why I call it RealGone Kustoms, because when I get them, there's nothing left to them.
That's what we started out with.
And most everybody would just soon walk away from it.
Yeah.
But he listed it on Craigslist or something, and I found it. I was looking for a shoe box because I about gave up on a Mercury, because that's like the pinnacle of the custom world is the Mercury, in my opinion. So I was looking for a shoe box, and I came across this one, and I had some student loan money, you know, and I went up there, and all the way up there I said I'm gonna offer him $600 for the car. And I'm gonna give him $600 for the car. And when I opened my mouth, I'll give him an offer. I said $700. So I bought the whole car, locked up, flathead, transmission. I don't know if it's shift or not, but the flathead was locked up. The frame was twisted and rotted in two, and the cross member was broke. Floors out of it. Like I said, all the windows and glass and the lights. The car was gone.
But it was gone.
But it was a Mercury.
Yeah.
And I said, I'll give you $700 just so I can say I got a Mercury. And he went for it. A buddy of mine, he was a member of my car club. I got a hold of him, and he hooked on his trailer, and we went back and got it. And Randy's pulled a lot of stuff for me. Underneath the car, you know, I told you what all was wrong with it, so I got an '83 Chevy Caprice, and it was parked in town, and they put an orange sticker on it. As quick as I saw it had an orange sticker on it, I started looking for him, and I found him, and I offered him scrap price for it, and he said, it's got to be gone this weekend, so it'll do me a favor. So me and Randy went and got it and drug that Caprice home, and I cut that Caprice up just about as quick as we got in the driveway, because the only thing wrong with it was it needed a grill and a front fender. And if I didn't cut it up right then, I'd probably drove it. And I cut it up. I built me a swing set looking rig with some 6x6s, and I lifted it up in the front yard out here. I took the doghouse off, run chains through the windows, and raised the body up, and just everywhere that it was still connected, I just cut her loose, lifted it up, and
you left the floorboard and the wheel tabs in the trunk and everything.
Yeah, I left all the metal from the floorboards, like you said, trunk, firewall. I kept everything that connects the brakes and the steering and everything. I kept that.
Now I remember too, Ricky, for a while you had that custom chain.
Oh yeah.
The chain from door jamb to door jamb was the only thing holding the column.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
I had taken the dash out because I wanted to do some custom paint thing with the dash, and finally got it back in. But yeah, I drove around with a log chain that I bought at the Hiltonville store. Went up, I measured what I needed, went up there and cut it to length, and bolted it in. First time I drove it was to the drive-in when we had that James Dean thing, so it was like September 26th.
Yeah, we was there in the old convertible.
You had the convertible there. It didn't have not one window except the windshield in it. And I ordered the windshield, and it still got the original rubber around the windshield because I was too tight to buy the rubber. But yeah, I drove it the first time, didn't have no, and it was a cold ride that night.
Yeah, we didn't have no roof.
Yeah, you didn't have no roof.
Yeah. We still rode like that. Tell us about the front bumper. I love the front bumper.
Well, that's a 55 Cadillac. Jeff Nicholson gave that to me. And we put that on over in his shop. And it needs to be something, I know, it don't, since we put it on there, everybody's got one.
Seems like
You
it.
see a whole lot of Mercury's with that on there.
Yeah.
And it needs something changed to it. You know, it's not done, but
They're never done.
the car, I've been driving the car for, I don't know, 6, 8 years,
Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah.
And I haven't given it any attention other than painting some fresh black on it every couple of years.
And now you have 2 fender skirts.
And that,
You
I
went
did.
around for quite a few years with 1 skirt.
Yeah, I run around because the one was so rough. I was ashamed of it. I kept it thrown in the box, but I finally fooled with them and repaired them and painted them and glittered them up. And
How about the headlight rings? These finished headlights, what are those?
Kevin Box got those at a swap meet. He sent me a message with a picture of them, and we assumed they're like a 54 Ford.
That's kind of what I thought, but I didn't know.
But he said they want $50 for them. I said, grab them. And I went on a couple years, owned him 20 of that 50. So he owned part of the car for a little while. But
I know you like the tunnel bliss, and you,
yeah, I
you
Frenched
pulled
them
it off pretty
things.
good.
I Frenched them just regular flood, you know. I didn't go deep, really. I just Frenched them like you would, and then put those 54 Ford rings on there, and it makes it look a lot deeper than what it is. Maybe it's not like 4 or 6 inches or nothing crazy like that.
Yeah.
But
Got any plans for some like expanded metal and drawer knobs or anything in the, in the middle?
yeah, I've thought about that. But that's been done to death. You know what I mean? But the grill, I don't know about it. I'm about lost at it. I tell you what looked good is a 53 Dodge Corvette grill.
Yeah.
With the turn signals in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've been, and I'd like to have the bumper off the back of one
Yeah.
to make like a Continental kit
Yeah.
on the back of it. But I don't know.
I'll keep my eyes out for one.
But I've been.
I actually know there's a really, really nice one in Corden. We may have to go search that out.
Yeah.
Be a good excuse to go snoop around the junkyard.
Yeah, it would. Yeah.
All right. Any more other details or great stories about the
Well,
Mercury?
I'm going to redo the drop in the back because we just heated the springs and that ain't the way to do nothing, you know. But
Yeah, I know that.
I'm going to redo the lowering in the back and put it in the shop and redo the metal work. Start on the inside and work my way out, you know.
You remember the old 50 Plymouth we had for years? It
Oh,
was just
yeah.
4-inch blocks in the back and heated coils in the front, and she was about a 1/4 inch from the snubbers all the way around. Just bounced down the road.
I believe I ain't for certain, but I think I'm on the that stop. What do you call that?
Riding on a bump stop.
On the bump stop. I believe my differential is on the bump stop in this car. I'm pretty sure it is. I think I'm picking up the vibration of it, sitting there riding on the gears.
Yeah, yeah.
And I can hear it, and I'm like, what's that humming sound? And it's been humming for 2 years, and I ain't found it.
You got 3,000 worth of backlash and you're still in your behind. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, well, we'll walk down here and we'll check out your new project here, the
Yeah,
truck.
that project is actually retiring this car so it can be put back in the shop and put together.
What year is this, 49 or 50?
Oh, it's a 53
53.
Chevy 3-window. It was a 3600 when I picked it up.
Yeah.
Old farm truck.
All original.
All original with the flathead 6 and all that. And I've cut it down 9 inches and made it a 3100 bed sides. It's sitting on a 83 Oldsmobile 88 chassis.
But you made tube frame from front clip to rear clip though, right?
Yeah, it had to be narrowed. I don't remember the measurement, but it had to be narrowed in order for the cab to fit on it.
Yeah.
And I just figured out what it needed to be and made a straight shot between the front clip and the rear clip. You know, welded it all back up, put a drive shaft loop in it. And, I got to looking at my cousin's late model race car. It's races one day and run a jack up under it. And I said, where do you put this jack? And I said, hey, what kind of front end is this? He says, metric.
Yeah.
I don't know nothing about that stuff, but I said, I got a chassis at home I'm building, looks just like the one you're racing. So it's put just about like a late model chassis.
You know, if they ever have any of them shows like they used to have at the Checker Flag Jalopy Showdown stuff where they let you hit the dirt track in your personal ride.
Yeah.
You have it, Ricky.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
Yeah.
I mean, I just adjust what you got cut down to like 8 pound in your tires so you can get dirt traction.
You'd be ready to go fast and turn left.
Right.
So what's this motor then?
It's a 307 Olds V8. It's got a 3-speed automatic with 350C transmission.
Got the HEI back here?
Yeah, it's got HEI, distributor, electronic, power brakes.
Power brakes, power steering.
Yeah, this is actually
Cadillac.
My cousin Chastity bought a El Camino by mistake. She thought she was bidding on one and was bidding on the one next to it. So I ended up with the El Camino, and the power booster came out of that El Camino, and the differential carrier for the gears came out of that El Camino, because you couldn't find a 7.5, 7 5/8 differential carrier nowhere. But I was lucky, you know, when she bid on the wrong car. As you know,
misfortune became yours.
Yeah, I believe Jesus is a hot rodder.
I do too. He must be. He keeps
was, yeah, he was using her to get me the parts I needed.
Some people probably mistakenly believe that it's like years of experience and knowledge, and you know, they keep cars on the road all winter long and everything. No. It's a lot of prayer more than anything.
More prayer than anything, that's for sure.
It's Jesus taking the wheel and the wrench.
Yeah, we've been out and had quite a bit of fun and said some prayers and stuff together, ain't we?
Yeah, we have. Yes, we have. Had to quite a few times.
Yeah, lights go out and we run out of gas.
Yep.
Did you put gas in it, Dave? I don't know.
Yeah, like a couple, 3 weeks ago.
16 gauge sheet metal for the floorboards. That's all custom, if you want to call it custom.
It's custom with a K.
I've been on them, beat on them and welded them down and all that. The seat came out of a later model Dodge minivan. Out of the back of it. It fit door to door, comfortable. It's even got armrests on it here. Check that out.
Oh yeah, I didn't see those earlier.
Yeah.
That is nice.
That's the armrest. You don't have to put them on the door, you already got them.
Yeah,
but, yeah, that's pretty well it for the interior. I just cleaned up the dash with a wire brush on a drill and clear coated it, you know.
I don't know if Amy can zoom in on this gold metal flake roof or not.
Well,
it don't pick up a lot on
this
videos and
overcast is kind of rough.
But it's got a really beautiful gold metal flake roof.
It looks a lot better in the sunlight, that's for sure.
And the RealGone Kustoms logo in the back window.
Oh yeah.
So what we got here in the back, Ricky's got a nice fuel cell. And
well, I was going to tell you, sometimes you do stuff out of necessity, sometimes you do it because you have to. I wasn't going to buy a new cell. I was going to use the old Oldsmobile fuel tank, and had a bracket welded up in there and was lifting it up in there, and it tilted a little bit on my jack. I let it sit there for a little while and found out it leaked gas all over the floor, and so I had no choice but to buy a new tank, which is all right. Looks good in there.
That's the way to go most of the time.
Yeah, it's 17 gallons. It don't look like much. Everybody says you're not going to go far, are you? But I think I get anywhere I want to go on 17 gallons.
You know, heck yeah, we like to stop every 100 miles to get out and stretch and stuff anyway.
Oh yeah, yeah. If you go 100 miles, it's time to do something. Sit down.
You got the reach to pull the camper.
Yeah. Put the reach in there. That's the last thing I did before I run out of welding wire.
So did you have enough to get that done though?
I had the last weld. I let go of the trigger, and I pulled it away from it and grabbed the trigger again, to, you know, to inch it out. That's it. I was out of wire.
Exactly. Yeah, praise the Lord for that. You had just enough. Yeah, we're looking forward to seeing that one on the road more often.
Yeah, that's going to be my daily, so I can put the Mercury back up in the shop.
And of course, you know, I know that like the running joke everyone's always ribbing you about on the Mercury is like, you know, you got to chop it.
Yeah.
But you've held off on that for a lot of years.
Well, from the back, sitting at it, if you go to the car show, cruise in, you're sitting in a chair behind it, it looks like it's chopped.
It does.
And a lot of people ask if it's chopped.
It does kind of. I mean, that's the back window, the way it's lowered and laid down and stuff, just factory. And
I tell you that, to be honest, it needs a whole lot more metal work to make it strong enough for me to be
cut the roof off.
Confident enough to cut the roof off.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all.
It's a little truck. Everyone wants to know when we're going to chop it, and I try to talk her into it sometimes. But
no, you're the only one that wants to chop it.
It don't ever
I'm
sit
sorry, I
still
have to
long enough
intervene.
to be chopped anyway. So, yeah, it's always on the go.
I tell you, when you get out on them like we do, and drive to Chicago, or Louisville, or Tennessee, or Ohio, and you're driving for a while, you start to think about comfort. Really, I tried to run a tally of what you got in a car when you build it, and I don't have a whole lot of money. I got more time and effort and skill in them than I do money.
That's the way we do in trading. Yeah, that's the way we do a lot of trading.
Yeah.
You know, swap this for that, and then, you know, we'll sell a car and then buy it back later or trade something back for it, or you know, and me and you both, and Jeff too, people give us a lot of stuff.
Right.
Yeah. And I thank the Lord for that. You know, a lot of the stuff on that truck and a lot of stuff on my chop top, even the motor, has been given to me.
Yeah. Well, you gave me stuff. Transmissions. We ended up trading transmissions or something for that Dodge and parts and different things.
And the motor most of the time I did from your old cousin's RV.
Oh yeah, he's here today.
$200 for the motor.
$200 for what was it, 360? I thought it was a 440. Is what I was told, and then I got into it. It was a 360, and that's another case of Jesus. saying
Amy likes 360s a lot better
than I asked Amy, I said, who needs a 360? Was that 360 got a transmission? Well, you need a transmission? Yeah.
And that's how we do. We sell around, trade around, and we kind of are guys that take the what would you say, the stuff no one else really wants.
Yeah.
Like we use a lot of RV motors and transmissions because no one else wants them. And rear ends and things like that are too high geared for no one wants. Yeah, that's kind of what we do. We take the castaway stuff, the less desirable, I guess you'd say.
Right.
And we make it go.
Well, that's how you get there.
Yeah. All right, Ricky, tell us about this blue Oldsmobile.
Well, that's the wife's car.
I really like the blue with the reddish interior.
Well, that was originally...
I think that really pops, so I got to get a glimpse of that. And this is all the original interior?
That's the original interior.
That's amazing.
It was originally white, and the people that had it for us decided to paint it the blue color.
Yeah. Look at them doors.
Yeah. It's a solid car. It might need a little attention with the auto glass. We'll probably have to get a hold of Tim Jenkins, get some auto glass work done to it. But yeah, it's got a 330 automatic, small block. It's got the 2-speed. I don't know if Oldsmobile called them power glides or not, but it's a 2-speed transmission
with air.
With air. I've deleted the whatever you call it out here because we was having some heat and cooling issues. Getting a little warm on us a couple times, and I took that out of the way to work on the radiator. Just haven't put it back on there yet.
Power steering, manual brakes though, see?
Yeah, and they're hard as a rock, man. I'm threatening to put a booster on this car because it makes a difference.
It does make a difference, yeah.
Back when this car was built, all those hot rodders were improving things, you know, and coming up with the power and the injection, mechanical injection, stuff like that. That's where all these new cars came from, was these guys.
You know, and this is like a small to mid-sized car in its day.
Oh yeah. Yeah. This car is a wagon, would take 3 families.
Yeah.
But it's all original. It's still got the bottle in here for the washers, the windshield washer.
Yeah. Glass.
Yeah, glass.
Awesome.
I got one I saved from my '62 olds. But you know, that's like desired. You can't find that.
Yeah. It's amazing those lasted at all.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems like one good pothole and that'd be it for them, but they last a long time.
Yeah. Who would have put something on a car like that?
Yeah, now people, you know, for the last 20 years, people put Jack Daniels bottles and everything else on.
Oh yeah. They're putting glass overflow. I've got her hubcaps off, and that's probably a bad thing. It's probably sacrilege.
I think it looks better without them. Certain cars do, some don't. To
Me,
me, it was like black wall tires. They look better without hubcaps, or like a dog did.
Yeah.
So if you got the wide whites, then you know it's all about the hubcaps.
Right.
Here comes Plymouth.
Yeah.
This is the Halloween special here, Ricky. What are we dressed up as, Plymouth? Can you tell us?
Scientist.
He's a mad scientist. Show us all your stuff here. And what is this? It's not a beaker, as I asked him earlier.
What's that called?
It's a gradual cylinder that I got from my school.
It's not a beaker.
It's not a beaker.
Yeah.
The beaker's the guy from the Muppets who makes that noise.
Yeah. Well, that's a pretty good outfit you got there, buddy.
Yeah, and I like your Darth Vader outfit.
It's Manny's. I borrowed it from him. So which of these rides is your favorite? Which car is your favorite or truck?
What cars are you talking about?
All of these around
The
here.
cars is Cherry's over there on the other side. You can't see her. But which one of these cars do you like the best?
I
hard
can't
to
answer
pick.
that question until I study the interior.
Well, if you come up with an answer, you can tell us. I can never pick a favorite either. So I know exactly what you mean. So, but yeah, Ricky's having a little Halloween get together here. That's why we're all dressed ridiculously. All right, I'm here again with Ricky Kinser of RealGone Kustoms, and we're asking a dozen questions everybody wants to know.
Okay.
Sitting in this nice comfy truck like me and Ricky used to ride around with our dads when we was kids.
Yeah.
And so it's like I will always say that the views and opinions of Just Drive It may or may not reflect the views and opinions of who we're interviewing, but for the most part, me and Ricky agree on most stuff, I would say. I'm a Mopar guy, and Ricky, he's kind of,
I
he
just
likes a
don't
little bit of
care.
everything.
I know more, and it seems like GM stuff gravitates to me.
It does,
You know,
yeah.
and,
It finds you,
yeah.
seeks you out. All right, Ricky. Well, how long have you been working on old cars?
Oh, well, let's see. I didn't really start fooling with them until I was old enough to have one. I was 15 or 16. Now, early on when I was a kid, I remember my dad brought home American Graffiti.
Oh, yeah.
And that simply ruined me. I mean, it's been rock and roll and hot rods and Mercuries and yellow coupes, you know, 55 Chevys ever since he brought that movie home on VHS. Just been crazy about rock and roll cars. But my first vehicle was a 72 Chevy truck, a C10 with 292 6-cylinder, and my grandpa had asked me, where you reckon them black marks come from on the road out there? I said, well, if you don't ask me, I can't lie to you. Yeah. If I ever wanted anything or wanted something fixed, I had to do it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Best way to learn.
I don't know anything that I haven't laid my own hands to learn it.
Yeah.
And I've messed a whole lot of stuff up.
Oh, yeah.
Like backlash on the rear end, I didn't know nothing about that till I messed it up.
Yeah.
That's how you learn.
Yeah, closed automatic transmissions. I can afford to have someone rebuild me an automatic transmission. and I've redone a bunch of them for myself. I won't do them for other people, but there's been 2 or 3 of them or 4, you know, that just didn't turn out too long.
Right.
But you know, as time went by, they're doing better.
Yeah. Well, see, back when we was younger and starting out and driving and working on our own stuff, I don't know if you got the same thing I did, but when I'd mess something up and I'd go to asking questions to some of the older guys, I'd get laughter.
Oh yeah.
And you know, there's a couple guys in the community that will help you.
Oh yeah. There's always some.
But when you're just a kid getting laughed at, it ain't good for you.
No, it does a little for your confidence, don't it?
No, it don't do no good. Caught the Sipes, he had a little store up there to help him build his old parts out of. And a lot of times when I needed a part, I didn't know what it was starting out. Because I hit the clutch in a Ford truck one time and it just fell and slapped the floor. And I was still in gear, you couldn't shift gears. I know what happened. But there's a little rod in there, you know, pushes your clutch.
Yeah.
And mine was in 2 pieces originally, and that second piece was gone.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, I didn't know anything. I'm trying to explain to him what I need and explain to Grandpa what I need and all this stuff. And just go out there and look and see what you can find. And I stepped out the door, and he had the front clip of a Ford truck sitting there, and there it hung.
Laying right there.
Off of the Z-bar. There the thing hung right there, what I needed. And after I pointed at it, they understood what I was trying to say.
Yeah.
But until I pointed at it so they could see it, they couldn't translate what I was saying into English, I guess.
Yeah, and you know, that's another thing with cars you find, especially regionally and within different age groups, is the name of something is different.
Right.
You know, they may call it a differential or a rear end or a hog head.
Yeah. Even today, when you go to Google something, you don't know, you'll call it what you're calling it and you can't find it. But eventually you'll bump into a word that doesn't even make sense to you maybe, but if you find that one word, it'll open up a whole world of parts.
Back years ago, a 4-barrel was a 4-cylinder engine. You know, they called carburetors pots. You know, mine's got 3 pots, mine's got 2 pots, mine's got 4 pots.
Right. I don't know what you're talking about, pots.
Yeah.
Pots are in the kitchen, man.
Yeah, back in the day, we need to learn more of that jargon, Ricky. That way we can talk to each other like that.
Right.
Go to the car show and look real educated.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's the best meal with 4 pots. And
sometimes the best way to look like you know something is keep your mouth shut.
That works best for me.
Yeah, you sit and listen
I
to
open
somebody else.
my mouth and it relieves all doubt. Yeah, he really is a dummy.
He's pretty distinguished till he opens his mouth.
Yeah. The point in your life where you're like, you know what, I'm going to work on this old stuff, I'm going to drive it, I'm not going to have a new car or a new car payment.
Right.
This is my life.
Well, it's like anytime you set your mind to something, there's been a million different people say it in hundreds of different ways, but you set your mind to it and it consumes you, and that's the thing you need to be doing.
Yeah. What's on your mind all the time.
Right.
What you're thinking about at school instead of doing schoolwork.
Yeah, what are you pulling that old junk for? But in 2020, see, I mentioned GM. I worked for GM for 4 years and then got let go, and then the people that hired with me actually got hired full time, and I think it was a blessing for me to leave the place. I didn't want to be stuck there for 30 more years working for somebody else. You know, from time you're awake, time you go to sleep, living for somebody else. I couldn't do that. I've never been geared to that. I've always wanted to do something else. If I'm standing someplace and my mind's on something else, you're not going to get 100% out of me. But when I left GM, I went to Manchester Tank, and I like welding. And I'm not a welder, you know, but I weld. I like to weld. But they hired me as a welder, and then before long I was a painter, powder coater. Within a couple of weeks I was powder coating and working by myself in the back. Nobody bothered me, which is the best thing for me, is to be working by myself. So they announced they was going to shut the doors and move everything out of town. But they'd give us a little bit of money if we hang around until they shut the doors. Well, I came home that day and told my wife, I said, I got 2 things to tell you. First off, 1st of July, RealGone Kustoms is going to be open full time.
Full time.
And that is to say, Manchester Tank shutting down on the 30th of June.
Mm-hmm.
That was the best way I could come about saying it. She was all on board.
Yeah.
It's like the Bible says you can't serve two masters.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can't build cars and work in the field somewhere for somebody else. You know what I mean? If you find out what it is you need to do, what you want to do, what you set your mind to do, and you agree with the Spirit and do what the Spirit's telling you to do, all that other stuff melts away and takes care of itself.
Yeah, it'll all fall in line.
Right. It's like people talk about the kingdom of heaven. Well, the kingdom of heaven for me is a state of mind, the way you think. In the kingdom of heaven, we are all creators. We are a part of the Creator. That's what we're here to do, is create. And it might not be welding, building cars. It might be digital or electronic computer stuff.
Yeah, I like the business of being a carpenter.
Yeah, my grandpa, Elmer George, was a carpenter for his whole life. Even after he retired, he would sit in the living room, and Grandma passed. He moved his tools and stuff in the living room. And I thought that, man, if that woman was still here, he'd be going outside to do this.
Yeah. But
he'd sit in his chair and build anything you wanted right there in the living room floor. And it amazed me. And I got his toolbox in there. Everything he ever owned had his initials on it.
Well, if someone borrowed it, he could know.
He know if they borrowed it. But he always had a joy about him when he was doing something. And he'd do it right, he'd take his time, and he never, in my eyes, I never saw him got aggravated.
Yeah.
He's always doing something the right way, taking his time, putting it together, never get aggravated. I'm not quite to that yet.
No,
I'd love to be like that. I'd love to take joy in building my own car and working on my own stuff. If you've got a problem, I can work with you, fix your problem, and never get heated, not get upset. I can work on everybody's car other than mine. But if something, same dang problem come along with my car, I get upset about it. You know, that's something I'm working on. So, but yeah, that was it. When they told us that the job was ended and they'd pay us to stick around, I said a little prayer. I said, this is what I want to do. And just reveal it to me how to do it.
That was the turning point.
That was the turning point. We built a garage with money Manchester gave me, a little bit of her money. You know how it is. Everybody shares money.
Yeah.
Something needs to be done or whatever. But she went in with me, didn't stand in my way. She partnered with me. That's what a wife does, partner with you.
One person.
Right.
All right, Ricky.
All right.
We kind of touched on this before, but what's your favorite brand of car and why?
Well,
if you have one.
Brand-wise, that's a big subject, because you've got, when it comes to drivetrains and turnkey and go down the road and one-wire alternators, and the easy stuff for me was GM stuff. You know.
Oh yeah. That's why they're so
70s,
popular.
70s, 80s, 60s, 60s Oldsmobile stuff.
Yeah.
But it just seems like it's attractive to me, Chevrolets, Oldsmobiles, and it's easier for me. I get it, but probably because I grew up with it.
Yeah, and they're good old cars.
But as far as style and stuff like that, Mercury's.
That's the next question. What's your favorite era and why?
Oh, well. What I really like is to see an old 30-something car, Fleet Line or something, or Fleet Master. Chevy had so many different names. When you see one of them cars come down the road and you hear that siren, that bomb, you know, I really like the old bombs. The 30s, 40s, you know, 50s is no doubt it.
Yeah.
You know, 50s cars are it, but I like the 30s, 40s, really. There's a styling, the chrome,
the Art Deco,
the Art
the
Deco
flowing,
stuff.
smooth curves.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, right around World War II, the stuff that they didn't build.
Yeah.
There's those years there that they didn't build nothing. But when they come back home, they built some cool stuff.
Yes, they did. And the cars changed more from like 48 to 58 than they ever did in any 10-year period.
Right.
Ever. 1948 model cars was all still 80 to 100, 120 horsepower, top speed of 70 or 80 mile an hour.
Well, you need to get there in a hurry for anyway.
Yeah. And manual transmissions, manual steering, manual brakes.
Right.
And then by 58, you had 350, 400 horsepower, power steering, power brakes, power windows, power seats.
Torsion bars,
Cars that would run 90, 100 mile an hour all day long.
Well, see, I tell everybody when I get a chance, when we talk about cars, I said they perfected the automobile with the Model T, with all the mathematics and the dimensions and everything. And if you really look at it and you study on it and you figure that stuff out, and why the Model T is built the way it is, they had it. And Henry Ford wasn't going to change nothing until he had to. He sold them until they made it. Everybody in the world said, Henry, we got to have something else.
Yeah.
But ever since then, everything's went downhill. They've improved on things. The 60s, was drag racing, the Bonneville, the fuel injection, everything's an improvement. It's kind of a joke. I say it was perfected. I mean, everything went downhill.
Yeah.
Each individual thing, like independent suspension and everything else, and you want to be able to drive down the road and listen to your record player and drink your coffee without spilling it on the baby hanging on the seat. But somebody had to sit and think about it.
It's definitely to a point of diminishing returns.
Oh, yeah.
It's like you pay a lot more money, and there's a lot more technology and a lot more things to go wrong on these modern cars.
But then that's what
and
you
they're
need.
really not that much better than cars from 20, 30, 40 years ago.
And that's what you need, the electronic technician guy that's been trained in school for.
Yeah.
And they got a bunch of trucks right now. Everybody says that they can't sell because they don't have a microchip. Yeah. But if they I told somebody the other day, if they went up and got Joe Souders, a couple of hot rodders, let them into them things and then start throwing the wires out of them, pulling the vacuum lines and the wires out of them and stuff, they'd have them running in 30 minutes. And they could sell them if they'd go back to building them. If they go back to building them like they did before the computer, they call it a computer, it's just a bunch of wires smashed into the whole thing. You know what I mean? It's actually, they won't say it helps things, but it's more or less, it's like, it's to keep the common guy from fixing his car. Is all it is.
And to make it to where within 10 years and all that stuff starts going wrong, you can't afford to fix that car because the parts to fix
buy a
it
new one.
are either unavailable or cost more than the car's worth to fix.
It's all marketing and such. I mean, I'd much rather build something like this and drive it than make a car payment. You mentioned car payments or whatever. I didn't.
Well, I mean, a lot of the vehicles we build is like 4 car payments. For normal people.
I mean, I was making car payments on a Chevy Malibu because I was working with GM, and if I missed work, I felt like I got cornered into buying that thing. But I told them to come get it, and I drove the Mercury. Rain or shine, snow, it don't matter. You can drive the old things.
Oh yeah, they did when they were new.
They were here when the snowstorms was a lot worse, you know what I mean? But, you could put a few $1,000s, let's say, into something and build it and never owe another man another dime for it. And you know what, if something stops, breaks, something goes wrong, you know immediately what it is because you put it together.
Well, you're a slave to that car. If you got $300, $500, $600, whatever dollar car payment a month, you've got to work 5, 6 days out of that month for that car.
But with the insurance and the payment and all that stuff, I was giving like $800 a month to insure and drive that GM bank owned car.
It looks like everyone else's.
It looks like everybody else's.
Did you ever get this at the stop sign when you came up in the Malibu?
No. You go, you drive stuff we drive, and little kids are giving you thumbs up. Old people giving you thumbs up. Everybody, people in BMWs, new cars, whatever. The glampers that pull those great big TV and heater, campers and stuff in the great big trucks.
And a lot of people may not want to be like you and want to drive that kind of stuff, but they appreciate it and they love to see it.
Yeah, they respect it and they love it. And like we was talking about old guys helping you out and stuff. I've met a couple of young guys that are looking up to us now.
Yeah, that's scary, ain't it?
Yeah, we gotta watch our P's and Q's and help them out as much as we can.
Yeah. All right, Ricky, next one, and remember, this is PG. Favorite thing to do in an old car?
Go to drive-in and watch the movie.
That's pretty awesome. Yeah, and watch the movie.
Yeah,
right,
watch the movie. I've set up the drive-in, the projector, and watched drive-in style movies in the shop here. And first time we did it was in that old shop, that old runs down thing I built, and we sat in the car and watched the drive-in. That was pretty cool. But if you can't get out to one, set it up at home yourself. It's pretty good stuff.
All right, Ricky. What are some of the industry trends you see now or in the near future? Like going to car shows and things and reading magazines, what you see on TV?
Well,
where the industry and is going, what are the trends?
I got some ideas of my own. I don't want to let the cat out of the bag.
Yeah,
really. But hey, if I don't do it, somebody else will. And if somebody's on board and wants to team up, we can do this. I think we need to take an old car or build a custom car, or whatever, and get Elon Musk, or Chevrolet, or whoever wants to build these electric cars that are so up fire wanting to build electric cars.
Yeah.
Give me one of the chassis, the battery pack, the bottom of it. Give it to us.
Put something cool on top.
Throw one in the mix, and let us do something with it.
Yeah.
It all comes down to we're all the same, whether we're blowing black diesel or putting flamethrowers on a gas car or riding an electric scooter. We're all going someplace. But I see that as an option.
I've seen quite a few.
Hot rod electric car.
I was skipping through YouTube the other night and it said 66 Impala convertible with a Tesla motor.
Yeah.
I didn't click on it because I still love the rumble of a gas V8.
I love all that, but I've been looking.
Coming.
Them cars are getting totaled just like every other car. And before long, you'll be able to go to a scrapyard or something and buy one. Now, if these guys are building them new now, to get in front of it and join up with us, we can make some cool electric cars.
Yeah.
And change people's minds about it.
For some of the trends you see going away, some of the stuff like you see at car shows and stuff that you used to see, you don't see too much anymore.
Oh, I don't know, man. Everybody loves nostalgia, and they hang on to stuff till it's dead.
And then we pick it up and go again.
You got all these people that say no crying babies on the front bumper, and different things. No billet.
No poodle skirts.
No poodle skirts.
What's wrong with poodle skirts?
No chrome. Was it bulletproof or whatever?
Yeah.
But I don't know. There's just like styles of clothes or something. A man gets to a place where he just sticks and he stays there.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been cuffing my pants since Beaver did it. We get stuck. Somebody gets in the style of car they like, and that's it.
Well, if it's what you like, to me, it's like, people might think, that Dave, he's stuck, he's been building that junk like that since he's 14 years old.
Yeah, but you never know what you're going to see him in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But it's like, that's what I prefer.
Yeah.
I mean, I see these grand touring cars or pro touring cars and the pro street cars, the 80s, I like those.
Yeah.
And resto mods and street rods, and they're all okay.
Yeah.
But I just prefer, the 50s, early 60s style and always have.
That's like the big wheels and stuff.
Yeah, it's not my thing.
I wouldn't put it on
someone
nothing.
else's.
I'm 15-inch.
Yeah.
15-inch steelies all the way. I told somebody the other day if I was going to put something else other than that on a vehicle, it'd be a 13-inch Dayton. with some thin white walls,
Yeah.
you know, the low rider stuff. But the bigger stuff, you know, it looks good from a distance on your car, but you know,
That's your thing.
Your car.
Someone's working on cars, you know what I
Yeah,
mean? That's
yeah.
what most people agree is like
Right.
a lot of trends and styles, they come and go. And, you know, if it gets people interested in working on cars, then so be it, if that's their thing.
It could be, it wouldn't matter if it's a donk or a low rider or a four-wheel drive lifted to the sky. If they're stuck alongside the road, somebody's gonna stop.
Yeah. And whether you like it or not, if it's done well, you're going to see it and you're going to watch it go down the road.
It may not be the guy you think would do it either. It may be some biker dude, and he can on the phone call somebody else.
Yeah.
That's the thing about car people. We all kind of connect and look out for each other.
Even if we ain't exactly on the same page.
We disagree and give each other.
We may not be in the same page, but we're on the same book.
Yeah. Give each other grief all day long, but if one of us needs help, we're there.
All right, Ricky. Do you think a car needs to be practical, comfortable, or economical to be a daily driver? And how much emphasis do you put on any of these things?
How long did you come up? It took you a while to come up with that question. That's funny. They don't have to be economical, comfortable. What was the other one?
Practical.
Practical. Functional. That's the only.
It does need to be functional.
As long as it's functional, and if I'm gonna put my son in it, it's gotta be safe.
Yeah.
But you know, my thought of safe and somebody else's might be different. But I ain't gonna put him in what's turning out to be rat rods these days. You know, rat rods.
That's the next question: is how far do you go with safety?
Well, if I say I got them, then I got to wear them. But this truck's got belts in it because it came with the seat.
Yeah.
But the belts is for the boy. I've rode around in the floorboard, the back window, bounced around in cars when I was his size. You know, Dad hit a deer and I was in the floorboard. I don't remember if I ended up in the floorboard or that's where I was starting with. But I remember it happening. And, you know, your family and the kids and the other people on the street are number one. You got to be safe. Come on. But
and at the end of the day, no matter how many airbags or analog brakes or whatever you have on it, people getting killed in them brand new cars with all that safety junk on them every day.
Yeah.
Really, it's still all in the hands of the Lord at the end of the day.
It is. It's always in the hands of the Lord. Yeah. Functionality. I mean, the more ridiculous and what was that P word?
Practical.
The more unpractical it is, the more fun it is.
Yes, and the more attention it's going to get going down the road.
Now,
the funner it is. And,
I've been on a fly on the wall when you all get out of your chop top, and everybody says, "How the hell did you ever get in it? How did you drive that thing?" I've heard people say that you couldn't drive that thing, and I've seen it. I've drove behind it to Woodstock, Illinois.
Oh yeah.
All over the place.
Hours and hours and hours on the road.
I mean, you got footage, film of it now and everything. I don't think there's anybody out there that's going to doubt the fact that you can drive that car.
What advice do you have to someone young or old or male or female or whatever who wants to get started in old cars?
Just keep your eye out and decide what it is you want, and keep your eye on that. Keep looking for that. Focus for what you want. Now, there'll be other things that get your attention and stuff, but keep your eye on that one thing you want. I know a boy that bought him a old car, and I heard the other day that he's getting discouraged because he couldn't find parts for it, or he didn't know exactly how to do the floorboards in it or something. But he's like 14. He didn't know his bus driver is a friend of mine that taught me some stuff, and he was discouraged and talking about maybe selling his car. So my buddy calls me about this car that I might be able to get, and I knew who it belonged to. As he talked, I figured out who it belonged to.
Yeah.
I said, "You tell him don't get discouraged. The car ain't eating nothing. You will figure it out." You know. He helped him find the parts he was looking for online, and I told him I'd get him all the sheet metal he wants. You know, don't back out of it, don't give up, And if you get aggravated, just step away from it for a minute.
Yeah. And you know, for me, it's like you might get aggravated in the car and you're ready to give up, and you're ready to sell it or trade it off, but you can just take it down the road at one time.
Yeah.
Or you can you got like emergency brake or one wheel working that'll stop it, and it's running on, 4 or 5 cylinders, and you maybe have a boat gas tank strapped or whatever. And you can take that, and you might be able to see the ground. And you can just take it down the road one time.
Yeah.
That will always be what motivates me. Then I can go on from there.
Yeah, when I was building this truck, I kept going back to starting the motor. Because as long as I could turn that motor over and hear it fire, it didn't have to keep running. Just had to hear it run, hear it fire. As long as it had a heartbeat and I could hear it fire, I wouldn't give up on it. And that's like that movie Better Off Dead from the 80s. He's all broke up about that girl that broke up with him. So wallowing in self-pity and stuff. And then that little French girl says all you need is a little bit of success, and they fire up that old Camaro that they've been working on. That's what you're talking about. He fired that Camaro up and pulled out, and he was a totally different guy. It just takes a little bit of success, even if it don't mean nothing to nobody else. Just a little spark. Just a little spark.
Yeah. It don't have to mean anything to anyone else.
No.
It don't have to be earth-shattering.
No.
It's just something that's personal for you.
Yeah.
All right, Ricky. How about favorite band or musician?
Oh, well.
That's a tough one too, ain't it?
That's like asking who's the best car builder or something.
Yeah, it is.
I mean,
I'll tell you, it's a tough question.
I like some back in the 80s when I told you Eddie Van Halen.
Yeah, I get it.
It was the pinnacle.
That's my first tape I ever bought, Ricky, was Van Halen.
Well, I figured out just like with AC/DC and everybody else, he liked to play the same kind of chords and things. And if you play jump, well, I was trying to play, what was it, Panama or something?
Yeah.
And I learned how to play jump by accident. 8 notes and 8 keys, and everybody that picks up an instrument does it differently. Santana, when he plays the first note, it's him. And Brian Setzer, you know it's him. And I can't really say which one would be my favorite.
I couldn't either.
I mean, I respect all of them, and they're all different, and they all bring something to the table. And if you lock yourself into just listening to one, you've screwed yourself.
Yeah, you're missing out.
Yeah.
All right, Ricky, last question. Same kind of question that you can't answer.
Yeah.
Hot rod, custom, muscle car, gasser, stock car. What's your favorite style of car build?
Well, I like all of them, I do, but I like a tail dragger custom, whether it's chopped or not. Chopped, it looks good, but yeah, I like them low in the back most of the time, tail dragger.
And that's the way I like them, either scraping the ground or 3 foot off there.
Right. You're either
anything in between is just run of the mill.
You're either cruising downtown with the back end down,
or straight
or you're at the drag race with the tires down here and your rear end way up.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm drawn to the low rider scene with the 30s, 40s models cars, and I like the Impalas and the hydraulics and all that stuff they do with them. I appreciate all of it.
Yeah.
I like the Serapo, whatever, the Mexican blankets,
Oh, yeah.
I put them in everything, and it's just, it almost feels like part of my heritage. And we all know
it just feels natural, doesn't it?
It just feels like,
it just feels right, Ricky.
Yeah,
it just feels right.
I'd rather see a blanket thrown over a seat than a seat that's brand done and redone, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and a lot of stuff we do and still do, it was like 20, 30 years ago, was hot and new and in California.
Well,
and we're still doing it the same way.
Yeah, it takes a while to get here sometimes, but it stays here.
And the first time, it was 70 years ago.
Yeah. Well,
but there's always been guys that build cars that way. It's just like becomes popular and then not popular and then popular and not popular. And,
right.
you know.
That's like shopping at Kmart. If your mom shopped at Kmart, you were an embarrassment. But you know, everybody's mom shopped at Kmart.
Yeah.
But back before around about the time or before the rat rod thing took off, or around here, it may have been hot, like you say, in Vegas and California and everything else, and we didn't know it yet.
Kind of like mullet, Ricky.
But we were like
everyone wore mullets in the 80s, but no one called them a mullet.
No.
I had a mullet in the 80s when I was like 6 or 7 grade. I never heard the term till just a few years ago.
Right. I didn't know any
better. Same way with the rat rod. People built what you might call a rat rod in the 40s and 50s or whatever.
But it was just unfinished. It was a primered car that they were working up to the paint job.
Yeah.
You know, start with the functionality of it and work up to the bodywork of it. But right around the time that rat rod thing come out or started, I was in the old Walmart in Bedford before they built a new one. And I was walking through the magazine section, and this dude, I think it might have been a Japanese guy, I'm not sure, but he had a bike that was just black with a leopard seat. Just flat black with a leopard seat. And I said, that is cool. And I can afford flat black.
Yeah.
And it looks all right. So I rattle canned my Oldsmobile flat black, you know.
Yeah.
Rattle can it took a lot of cans. It took a long time to do
your
it.
finger was tired.
Yeah. But I mean, we did it because that's what we could afford to do.
Yeah.
And then it's gotten to where dudes have got finished vehicles that look like an Easter egg 10 years ago.
Yeah.
They're sanding the paint off of them and making them look like patina, like they just drove them out of the weeds.
Making fiberglass bodies, brand new fiberglass bodies, and painting dirt and rust on them.
Painting dirt and rust on them.
Yeah.
And I've seen a HHR, one newer HHRs runs around town with a wrap on it. Looks like it was drug out of a field.
Yeah.
That's just crazy to me.
Well, it's like, you know, our old truck, people ask us all the time, you know, oh, that's a neat patina paint job. Oh, you got satin clear on that?
Yeah, Lord did that.
It's just natural. It's just our truck. I had a guy come up to me the other day and he's like, so what you gonna do with the old Dodge? And he's like, drive it.
Yeah, just drive it. Yeah.
Well, Ricky, it's about to get dark on us, so
oh yeah.
we better get in there and be hospitable.
Oh
But,
yeah.
I appreciate your time and your honesty.
All right, man. I appreciate you coming out.
for inviting us to the Halloween party. Let's see if we can get out of this truck without breaking away.
Oh, mercy. Feeling my age now.
Not me, Ricky. I got a cape on. It makes all the difference. All right, till next time, this has been Just Drive It.